Now, ACP Agyeman is standing trial, so is several other people, including Dr. Mark Palm. And the issue has to do with what the state calls an attempt to destabilize the country. In a layman's language, they were trying to organize a coup d'etat. It's been several decades since Ghana recorded a coup d'etat, the last one being on 31st December 1981. But what has been the history of coup d'etats in Ghana, or attempts to destabilize the country, and how have they ended, or how have they failed? My colleague, Hanson Agyeman, has been looking through the background of all coups in Ghana and has this report.
Thousands poured onto the streets in a jubilant mood. The country's first president and one of its foremost independence heroes had been overthrown. This single act in February 1966 set the stage for a couple of coups d'etats that will be experienced by the country within the period of 1966 and 1982. This was after several failed attempts to oust Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Persons who were responsible for the coup claimed that it was to save Ghanaians from the hardship they were enduring as a result of the leadership style of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Let me say that before the 66, from 64, 65, 66, issues in the country, things were not really going on well. You know, shortage of food items, things were terrible.
The coup, which was jointly orchestrated by some personnel of the military and police service, resulted in the destruction of properties.
I went to Kanda, where many CVP activists lived on that day, and I saw soldiers point the nozzle of their armored vehicles into story buildings and open fire. And I saw furniture, refrigerators and so on tumbling to the ground, and there was blood everywhere.
Reports suggest that the incident was popular among a number of Ghanaians back then.
It was so popular that the masses that rushed to the streets, rushed to James Fort, all the political prisoners who were. It
was like a second independence.
Virtually.
After the 1966 coup, the National Liberation Council, headed by Lieutenant General Joseph Atta Ankara, was formed to govern the country. In an interesting twist, one of the military officers who took part in the 1966 coup on April 17, 1967, foiled an attempted coup.
For announcing
that the coup
has been foiled.
Yes.
You were punished.
Yes, virtually.
By the military officers or by the presidency?
No. When I was put in the guard room for 3 days, nobody, up to today, nobody has told me who gave the orders that I should be put in the guard room.
In less than 3 years under the military, Ghana was returned to a civilian rule after a competitive election supervised by the National Liberation Council, which led to the election of Dr. K.A. Buzia as Prime Minister and Edward Ekufuado as President. The Buzia regime was not without challenges, as 27 months into its reign, Colonel Ignatius Kutu Echampong led an uprising that toppled the Buzia government for the very same reasons Nkrumah was overthrown.
Who was not initiated by the armed forces merely to satisfy our selfish ends. As I said in my earlier broadcasts, the takeover was occasioned principally by the hypocrisy of the Buzia regime, coupled with the inefficient management by that regime of our economy.
6 years into the National Liberation Council's regime, led by General Champong, a palace coup took place that handed over the affairs of the country to the Supreme Military Council with General F.W.K. Ikufo as its leader. While in charge, the Supreme Military Council reportedly had put in place measures to return power to civilian rule. But a revolt by junior-rank military officials on June 4, 1979, led by Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlins, overthrew the Supreme Military Council on the basis that corruption was pervasive. The coup occurred after he had been sentenced to death following a failed coup in May the same year.
We were running through dangerous times by 1979. So, in moving in the first time, it was not a coup d'etat. I was trying to prevent a revolt, a mutiny, a revolution, a violent revolution. I tried to be as modest as I could to prevent it, and I ended up being arrested.
Mr. Rawlings relinquished power to Dr. Hilal Liman just 3 months after the coup. By 1981, the living conditions of Ghanaians had not changed for the best, according to organizers of the 1979 coup. This reignited a similar action in 1982, also led by Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. He held on to power until 1992, when he returned Ghana to civilian and democratic rule.
But two major cases we are following for you here from the courts today. One has to do with ACP Agyeman's bail application, which has not been granted. But the other case has to do with the largest opposition party's chairman, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo. He's also in court today over those treason charges that have been brought against him. The case is just finished, and we're told he'll be emerging anytime soon. To the specific technical issues for which reason the Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo case has been adjourned to Thursday, we have to speak to one of the key lawyers. Eduji Kujo Tamaklo is one of the lawyers. You're welcome to Citi Newsroom. The technical issues that were raised, can you share with us what in simple language they would mean?
We're supposed to come to court today for the hearing to commence. At the last sitting, we were told that some of the witnesses required a subpoena before they can come and testify. So our expectation was that that would be the business of the day. You know, we also filed a motion to strike out the witness statement of one of the prosecution witnesses. That's the application that the Republic today filed an affidavit in opposition. But, you know, because of the strike action, it delayed the service of the process on us. And that is what has necessitated the adjournment to Thursday.